Hello and welcome to another episode of John a Day. Here I am with Josh, and today we're reading John 1 verses 12 and 13. And so, Josh, would you mind reading for us?
That's fine. From verse 12. Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision or a husband's will, but born of God.
Awesome. All right, well, let's do our little Swedish method. I think for me, the light bulb, I love adoption. It's my favorite thing about, I guess it's my favorite doctrine. And so I love the idea that that God just doesn't make me right before him. He doesn't just save me. He doesn't even just give me Jesus' righteousness, but then he makes me one of his children and makes me an heir to his kingdom. It blows me away every time. But one thing I was thinking about is that word in verse 12, the right. And it gives us the right to become God's children. And you were telling me a story earlier about this.
Yeah, so on Thursday I was having a discussion with some mates, and we were in a group. I was talking about the problem I have with people who think that they have the right to drive. It's kind of a mentality that I've found that a lot of people seem to have. And I was trying to explain to one of my friends that I actually believe that driving is a privilege, not a right. And he kind of just asked me, well, what's the difference? And he was kind of confused at what I was trying to say. Luckily, one of my other friends stepped in and was able to explain it better than I probably could.
Yeah. So very, very cool. What's the light bulb for you?
In verse 13, I really love the fact that, we're not born into God's kingdom of human descent. It doesn't matter what line we come from, who our family is. It's got nothing to do with blood of ourselves, but it's from God's will, who he chooses, who gets to be part of his kingdom.
Yeah, awesome.
So cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. One question that I had from the passage came from verse 13. That's not being born of natural descent or the decision of humans, but born of God. And the question that Josh and I were thinking about, or I brought up and was thinking about, was, how does that happen? What order does all that sort of stuff happen? We thought that the answer probably lies in John chapter 3. And so it's probably, we'll get there. We'll get to the answer eventually. But just how that all works out is very interesting to think about. I'm looking forward to looking at John chapter 3, and particularly that passage about being born of water and spirit. How about you, mate?
Interestingly enough, just like your question is to do with my application, my question is to do with your application. And my question comes from the word right. In verse 12 it says, he gave us the right to become children of God. That seems to imply that, a right means that we deserve it. But is that actually what it's saying? Do we actually deserve to become children of God? And I think what Evan and I came to the conclusion is that, yes, because of God's will, we do have the right to become his children, and we deserve it, not on our own accord, but it's more of like an inheritance. We didn't do anything to earn it, but instead, because of what God did and because of the fact that he loves us, that's why we can be called his children.
Awesome. Application. My application is to, the first thing I thought of was just to give thanks for the wonderful things that God has done for me and on my behalf, and that he would adopt me into his family. It blows me away every time. How about you, mate?
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to go with something very similar. There's not really too much more of an application that better fits this than giving praise and thanks to God.
Okay, speech bubble. I think something that I was reflecting on is that I think it's quite a common misconception that we are all children of God. But when we come up to the adoption passages in the Bible, it's quite clear that we're not. And only few people are chosen to be part of God's family. And so kind of, bringing that up and presenting that to people, actually we're not all children of God, can be quite confronting and interesting to chat with people about. I know I've had a couple conversations with people in the past when they've said such a thing. So that's kind of what I'll be carrying forward. How about you, mate?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things I see in people who kind of know a little bit about Christianity is they think that to go to heaven, all you need to do is do some good deeds, live a good life, and you'll go to heaven. And what we see here in verses 12 and 13 is that that's not actually what it is. In verse 12 it says, to all who received his name and believed in his name. It's got nothing to do with what we do. You could do 20 works, you could do 20,000 works, but at the end of the day it comes down to, do you believe in God? Do you believe in what he did for you?
Yeah, nice. Very good. Well, thanks for joining us. We're going to pray now. We'd love to hear how you went with your Swedish method, so please put that in the comments below. Enjoy reading John today. And grace and peace to you.